Well, it looks like our first guest is on the line, so let's get him on board.
All right.
Is this the one and the only Mr. Bas Rutten?
Yes, it is.
Wow, welcome to Totally Driven Radio, Bas. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you. And if you can, please call me Bas.
Bas, I'm sorry.
Bas.
I don't need you to, like...
No, a lot of people do that.
I don't need you to stretch me.
Be happy I wasn't there.
You would stretch me with ease. Well, no, it would probably be hard because I'm a short guy, but I'm a big guy, and I wouldn't be able to be flexible enough to get in their positions. So by the time you would get me into a hold, I'd be tapping out already.
That's always good to hear. So I don't have to do anything, especially now.
You wouldn't break a sweat.
Really happy.
Yeah, you wouldn't break a sweat.
That's important. Very.
Hey, as I was thinking, as I was doing like my research on, I thought to myself, I wonder if he was like ever approached to be in the movie The Expendables, because you would be like a good fit for that.
They never asked me. I heard that they wanted me in the first one, but then that went to a different guy. But that's what I heard from Mickey Rourke. He was in the first one, and he's a buddy of mine. And then I never heard anything. So it's okay.
Oh, wow.
Whatever they want to do.
Oh, so you're buddies with Mickey Rourke?
Yes.
That is like my wife's celebrity crush of all time.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Yep. Actually, she got to meet him when he was doing The Wrestler. They filmed a lot of the stuff out here in Philly, a lot of the wrestling scenes from the shows. So,
well.
So I used to be a pro wrestler, and I used to do stuff out here in the Philly tri-state area. So I was able to get her in to be able to meet him while they were doing the filming. So that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, no, he's a really cool guy. I met him a long time ago at the Pride Fighting Championships, actually. I met him before, but this time, he was there. We put him in the first row, and then he gave me a note. He says, "Listen, we're going to eat at Gompacho." Gompacho is the sushi place where they have that big fighting scene with Kill Bill.
Okay.
It's a really nice place. So I went over there, and that's it. Since then, we've been friends.
Wow, that's very cool. So I guess you guys talked a lot of boxing and stuff.
No, you know what? He's in New York, and then he's back here in LA, and he's in New York. So he's a very busy guy. Last time I met him, I was at the party with the Gibsons, for Mel Gibson. He was there with Mel, and we always go to Mel's sister. They put on great barbecue and have a lot of fun. Her daughter works at my gym, so it's always fun because he said he's gonna bring somebody I know. I said, "Oh, it's Mickey. I can guarantee you that." And sure enough, Mickey came in.
Oh, that's funny. So, all right, let's. Can we go back through your career and then catch up to you and what you're doing now?
Yeah, of course.
Early on, the person who got you all into martial arts was Bruce Lee.
Yes. I just did actually an interview for him. I think it's for the History Channel or something about Bruce Lee. They asked me if I wanted to say something. I said, "Are you kidding? Of course. He's the man."
Now, the thing that I was reading, it said that like when you first saw Bruce Lee, you were like 12 years old, and you just wanted to take up martial arts, and your parents wouldn't allow you to do it.
No, the thing with me was when I was a kid, I had real bad asthma, severe asthma, and with that came also severe skin disease, eczema. And it was all over my hands and my face, and so I got bullied a lot. I never fought because I would always win. Even when I was sick, I beat the bullies up. But they would, giving constantly, and with groups, they would come and they would mess with me, and and then when I saw Bruce Lee, I go, "Whoa, that's the answer. If I be like him, I can beat everybody up." And that's, by the way, I asked my parents for 2 years. It took me 2 years for them to finally say yes. And then I started Taekwondo. And Taekwondo, within a couple of months, 2 months or so, I was beating up the brown belts there. And I heard I was the only kid. Somebody from the team got me in. I had a really pretty neighbor girl, and it was her boyfriend who was like the cool guy in town. And he took me under his wing and he brought me in there. And
cool.
I heard some people talking about me. "Man, did you see this kid? So now I started getting confident And I got into a fight with the biggest bully in town. This time they screamed, they were on a bike, they said something, and I said something back. And they all stopped, started laughing, and I started biking. They wanted to follow me. So I stopped my bike, put it on the stand, and I was just waiting for them. And he came right away. He came to me and knocked him out. One punch. He was done, but the problem was he broke his nose. So the police got involved, and they showed up at my mom and dad's footsteps, and that was it. They took me off taekwondo right away. They said, see, it's violent. They always thought it was violence. And that was it. And then when I was 20 or 21, I moved out of the house, and that's when I right away jumped on everything. I did taekwondo, I did karate, I started Thai boxing with it 6 months. Everything started escalating from there, and I started competing.
So, I mean, they had to see. I mean, you probably saw it yourself, but your parents had to see, too, even from, at that age of 14 or 12, and then you didn't start until 14, that, like, the thing I got from it when I was reading it was that maybe they thought it was, like, a phase you were going through. Being a young kid, it was just a phase. But then after seeing for 2 years, you really wanted to do it. They had to think, all right, well, it's not a phase no more. This is something he's serious about.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think my parents, they know now, but I never told them I was bullied. There was one time when it was really bad. I went home, I walked into the door, I grabbed the kitchen knife, and I went back to school. And my mom saw me looking through the front window, and she saw me running back with a knife. And she took after me, and she stopped me. And that was one time when I was really, embarrassed. But what happened was I got into a fight, and normally I always climbed trees, and I would swing from treetop to treetop. There was this guy standing in front of me, and they all were messing with me. And suddenly I jumped up to a branch, and I wanted to use that like in the movies to kick him. But when I jumped off, the branch broke. I fell on the ground, and the whole school started laughing, and that really got my blood boiling. And I'm happy that my mom was there. Let me say that. I don't know what I would have done. It's probably I would have just, flattened him. But that was the moment I lost my control.
Yeah, when you had to stop taking taekwondo, I mean, for that time, what did you do? I mean, you had to be pretty upset.
I was really good at track and field. I wanted to, at the time, was Bruce Jenner. He was my idol, He was the Olympic gold medalist in decathlon. I wanted to be that also, the Dutch Bruce Jenner. So I had a really good high jump, long jump, my discus, my shot put, my javelin. Everything was good. The 1,500 meters, because of my asthma, that was a hard one for me. But for the rest, I started getting, I started. I mean, I jumped. What did I jump? I think I jumped 6'8" when I was 17 years old. 16 years old, high, so 2 meters, 2 meters and 3 centimeters. So, it's, but at that time already, I started getting injuries. I was so sick, they treated me with a lot of cortisons, and cortisons is really bad for your tendons and it's for your bones. But at that time, they kind of didn't really know that because it was all new. So I took like 45 pills a day or something for my diseases that I had. And, for some reason, I developed tendonitis, and that made me stop track and field. And then actually, it was really weird. My whole career went okay, but my last 4 or 5 fights, the tendonitis was there, and it's an excruciating pain. I was in both arms. Once it happens, let's say you're 6 weeks before a fight, then I'm so screwed because you have 45 minutes. I don't know why that is, but 45 minutes dead on the clock. At that moment, when you 45 minutes you train, the tendonitis starts, and it's an insane pain for an hour and a half. I would lose weight from the pain. I was miserable. So that really stopped my career because training wasn't fun anymore. It was very painful, And so it's weird, but I'm very lucky that it didn't happen sooner because I had it at track and field with a high jump. I could only jump like 3 or 4 times. That was it, and my knees would be really pain. I would have a lot of pain in my knees. So, and the same with javelin throw. I would have a few good throws, and then my arm started hurting. So lucky that I got a career, and then it came back. At least I had a career out of it.
Yeah, I mean, so at that point, like then you said 20 years old, you started getting into boxing and back into martial arts again, and it didn't bother you then at that point?
No, for some reason it never bothered me. You know, it came later in my career, and I don't know why. You know, so, yeah, I'm blessed with it because, that would have stopped my career very early. I guarantee you that.
So when you started getting back all into this, when you were at the age of 20, was it your plan to go into this professionally, or you were just going to do it and see what happened?
You know what? This is weird. I was a cook. I was a professional cook. I'm a French chef cook. So I worked at a restaurant. Yeah, and I did modeling work also, believe it or not. That was the time that they just steered away from the more feminine guys and they wanted the real guys. And when I walked in there, and these people, there were 3 women who owned that company, and they loved me, and they sent me out. I worked 3-4 times a week. It was a really good income for that. But until I started showing up with black eyes, you know, and a nose button, that was the end of that. And then what was it? I really liked cooking, but already fighting started pulling at me. And then I worked for a guy at a restaurant for like over 2 years. And I ran the place, and this guy had his house was attached to the restaurant, so he would come only in and like on Fridays a little bit of help, and on Saturdays, and the rest of the week I would, you know, do every people. I would always see how many people I can do by myself. Like it was over 40 people one time, all by myself, and different groups, different appetizers, main courses, and everything. So that was for me. I really enjoyed it. And one time there was I think it was a Tuesday or Thursday, because these were very slow days. And there will be like, for 2 years, maybe 6 people would come. So I will prepare just to make sure for 20. You never know. You know, they call that the mise en place. You make all the sauces, the base sauces. And suddenly, for some reason, 25 people or something came in. And I needed to call him now. And I said, listen, I'm out of this stuff. I didn't prepare enough. And he got really angry at me. And I go, whoa, relax, man. You've been here for a long time. And, you know, there's nobody comes ever. I did triple the amount that normally is here. And he says, no, you do exactly what I say, what I tell you to do. I said, okay, don't talk to me like that. You know, I do not do what you say. And he grabbed a big bowl of butter, and he said, if I throw this on the ground and I tell you to clean it up, then you're going to clean it up. So I walked to him, the bowl out of his hands, and all the butter got over the floor. I said, ask me. And he said, you clean this up. And I took my apron off, and I was out of there. That was the last day I worked, and then I started fighting, and I became a bouncer.
Wow. You know, actually, here was a story I was going to tell you about bouncing. Actually, my uncle just passed away a couple weeks ago, and he worked clubs throughout Philly and New York City for years. And he was working in the clubs bouncing for like 50 years. He just passed away. He was 77 years old. Even at 77, the man frightened me. He would kick my ass. But we were at his services last week, and a lot of former bouncers he was working at were there, and they were telling stories and all. And they were telling me this story where he punched a guy literally out of his shoes. They said they never seen anything like that before in his life, where the guy literally flew out of his shoes and his shoes stayed on the ground.
You know, yeah, it's very possible. You know, it's all what kind of shoes he has. And I heard the craziest. I saw the craziest stuff there also. The stuff that when you put that in a movie, hitting somebody out of his shoes, they're not going to believe it. You know, they're going to say, yeah, right. But I do know that happens, man. The craziest things always happen. It's a fun job. But my real power as a bouncer was talking to people. I'm very good with people. If there's a fight, I'll break it up. I tell them what's going on. How you looked at my wife. I said, well, that's kind of a compliment, dude. You know, if you touched her, that's a different story. But looking, you should be happy. You know what I mean? She got a chick.
Right.
And then I would give him a beer, and things would be solved. So we almost, from the 10 times, we would fight maybe one time. You know, and I enjoyed doing that. I was actually, at the time, I was wearing glasses as a bouncer because now I have the laser done, and I got a lens in my eye. But at the time, you know, I would wear contacts, but I was just wearing glasses, and only that already made the people afraid. They thought, this guy wears glasses while he's bouncing. He's got to be really good. You see what I mean? So it's all about doing little things that are off, and talking to people in a certain tone, they realize right away, if you tell them, I told this story today, I told this many times. These big guys would come in at the time, and they were like freaking bodybuilders, tank tops, ponytails, and we would have to stop them because, you have dress shoes, it needs to be a nice place. So they already start getting angry. I said, listen, dude, don't kill the messenger. If I let you in, I'm going to lose my job. What do you want me to do? And they say, okay. So they go home, they come back in the clothes, but now they're a little aggravated. And I know they're aggravated, but I let them in right away. And when you let them in right away, they think, that I'm impressed or something about them. And that's always a moment that they start making trouble. And
right.
I would always tell them the same story. I said, dude, you're a really little tiny guy who's very insecure, and the only thing that you did was putting a lot of steroids in you, and you made yourself big, trying to convince the people that you're not that little guy. But I see straight through that. You're still that little guy, And then you would see these guys the look on their face was right away telling, because they know I hit it on the money. And I said, dude, my job is fighting. That's what I do. Whatever you do, but your construction doesn't matter. The time that you spend there, I spent training with guys, professional other fighters, 2 or 3 times a day. The chances that both guys are going to win, because I will fight you both if you want. You see, it was total intimidation, And they would never pick it up. They would never say, okay. And I would tell them, I say, why would you be angry? It's my job. I lose my job if I don't do this. Please don't be angry. Most of the time, I even give them a beer. I never fought. When that happened, I never fought. They always listened to the story, and then it would be good.
But you never had anybody really think that they were going to, beat you because,
Yeah. No, I had some big fights. When I go, I always try to make it big and violent, because of the reason that I want other people to see. I include a lot of headbutts, because it's very frightening for people who are watching. And all these people who are watching, they're going to tell everybody, dude, this guy is freaking crazy. You see, so it's all, if you do something, with me, the thing is, if you fight with me, you have to push it 3, 4, 5 times. I'm really easygoing. I really don't want, until you start pushing your hand on me, then I will warn you. I say, okay, you can do anything you want. You don't touch me because we're fighting them. And then if they touch me again, well, that's what they ask for. And then they, of course, after it happens, he says, hey, you're so aggressive. I said, dude, I tried to diffuse the situation 6 times. You just wanted to fight. You thought you could beat me. Now you realize you didn't. And now I'm the bad guy suddenly, And then they, again, would understand it. And it would be okay. But I kicked people down the stairs. They were in my face, no shirts. And I tell you, please, you got to wear a shirt. And this guy keeps going off on me, and I'm taking all his crap. And I say, you know what? I'm going to be the good guy here. While he walks out, he spits. And then, that's something I don't really want anybody to do. And he ran out of the door. He was gone. Listen, I could not sleep for a week. I was so aggravated. I was thinking about this guy, and I never saw him. He's from England. We never saw the guy in life. And the next week, he freaking walks into the bar, man. It was heaven for me. I looked at the head bouncer. I say, anything goes? He says, anything goes. And I walked up to him. He had to walk 2 stairs up because they had to buy a ticket there. And I said, you're not allowed. He said, what do you mean, man? I said, you're not allowed. Oh, you fucking bad. And he starts shouting at me and, puts his hands on me. And that was it. I kicked him in the stomach. He flies down the stairs. And I tried to be as cool as possible because none of the people came up the stairs. So I walked really slow down, And then while he walked up the stairs again, I kicked him, in the neck and in the face, all the way down. And I shouted at the other bouncers and head bouncers at the front and said, open the door! He opened the door, and I pulled straight in the face. And the guy flies out. And then I spat on him. I had to do that. You have to do that.
Oh, that's fun. Now, I got to ask, because you have your own school now. Is that what you're doing?
Yes. I have a gym here in Westlake Village. Really nice place. Really nice village. I believe it's the 4th safest city in the country, and very nice for the kids, very relaxed. And we have a really beautiful gym. Tori Spelling trains with us. Her husband, So it's a really family oriented gym, and we just had our first show here, and we do it in the Civic Arts Plaza, which is a place where they have plays, all those kind of things. It's very classy. We sold out right away our first show, so that was really great. Very nice people. People brought their kids. Not a problem, no nothing, smooth show. So now we're going to put probably like 3 shows a year. We're going to do it. So all our fighters that we have, that we know for sure they can fight. Right.
Now, do you spend a lot of your time? Because I can hear how enthusiastic you get about telling stories. Telling stories to your students.
Oh yeah, no, I do a lot of things with stories. I do also a lot of things with techniques I learned from other people. Like, for instance, if Marco, who was in the past, did something to me, and I say, hey, that's a cool move, and I show it to my people. I say, listen, Marco, who showed this to me, I always go to that. Or I say, this I actually used in a fight, and then I explain everything. And I say, well, I'm telling you, because now if I can do it in a fight against a professional guy, the chances that you guys are going to do it are very and succeed with it are just very, very high. So I always try to attach stories to teaching. Yes, and a lot of comedy. Not when I train the fighters, of course. There will be comedy, but they will train. But normally, I always thought that comedy is a better way to connect with people than being all the time being the tough guy. And I go, you relax, man. It's these are people who come here just for a good time. You don't need to really drill those people. They just, I love it. I love teaching. I actually teach at 6 o'clock today.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And how about yourself? Like when you were training in your prime, like how many times a day? Like a person who's training to be fight MMA style. I mean, especially where you had a background in all different types of fighting. Like, do you train each different type of fighting each day to keep up on that, or you're just I mean,
yeah. What happened with me was that I was a striker, and I came in, and I won a guy, knocked the guy out first fight, knocked the guy out the second fight, and right away everybody knew, okay, he's a striker, do not stand with this guy. So from that moment on, my third fight I lost. And I lost it by toe holds, which at the time I didn't even know what it was. I knew it hurt when they threw it on you, but it was painful. But I had nobody in Holland to train with. It was very hard for me to find training partners. So then I lost again, and then my last fight I lost against Ken Shamrock, and it really upset me. And now I started getting vocal. Everywhere I came, I told people, please, anybody wants to train with me, please. And there's one kid. He's 19 years old, Leon Van Dyke, and he was an extremely athletic kid, and he actually started fighting. He beat some really good guys also. He actually knocked out Evan Tanner with a buddy kid. So it was, we started training, and we had no teacher. The only thing we did was watching tapes and then try it out and then see if we could make it better,
Right.
And we did that 2 or 3 times a day, and I never lost anymore. I actually won my next 8 fights by submission. I turned the whole game around, and at the end of my career, what did I have? I have 14 submissions and 12 knockouts. So actually more submission victories than knockouts, and only 3 decisions.
Now,
because I want to brag now. I won my last 22 fights. I didn't lose in my last 22 fights.
You can brag all you want. I'm not going to stop you.
It's always cool to tell you. So, some people are forgetting it, and then I say, you know what? Let's throw it in the mix.
Throw it out there. Now, here's something, though. I mean, you're somebody who you were so dedicated to this for so many years, and you truly loved the sport that you were in. When you had to retire, was it very upsetting to you?
It was. It was, and especially in the first year because nothing happened. And I really wanted to do things. And suddenly, the Pride Fighting Championship. I was training Marco Huas and Mark Kerr at the time. And I was in the backstage. They have the fights also on in the dressing room. And I see this guy's fighting. And I said, he's going to armbar him. And everybody looks at the screen. And like 10 seconds later, he puts him in an armbar. And they look at me, they say, how do you know? I tell you, you can see how he sets it up, right? And then the next fight was Carlos Newton, I believe, against Sakuraba. And I say, oh, my God, he's looking for a knee bar. And seconds later, he gets knee bar, Carlos Newton. So now they say, wow, this is crazy. I said, did you ever think about commentating? And I said, no. They say, do you want to try it? We have a show, The Pride. I was with Royce Gracie against Sakuraba, and they were going to broadcast it live to the States. I said, sure. You know, I was so green. Imagine this. I was so green that when I showed up, I did not know that I had to bring a suit. So when they asked me where the suit was, I had no clue. I never looked at a company. I had no clue. And I was in my shorts and flip-flops, and I had this Hawaii shirt on. And they go, oh, my God, are you kidding? I said, I swear to God, nobody told me, you know. I said, I don't know. And then we started making these funny openings. You see me sitting with a bunch of girls, and they're feeding me grapes, and they're fanning me with these things. And then I start talking to Stephen Quadros, who was at the time my partner, you know, and we have these funny opening skits. And suddenly that caught on. And they said, oh, we got to keep doing this. So then every Pride show we would start with a little comedy routine or something, or a serious thing, you know, and people really seem to enjoy it. And from there, I went into the IFL, the International Fight League. First I was a coach, but they wanted me on TV as the host. And I became the host. Then when that went down, I mean, within 3 months, they told me Inside MMA was going to be a new show. They wanted me for it. Guy Metzger was friends with Mark Cuban, and Cuban asked him, who do you get? He says, you got to get Bas. So I owe him that. And this is the show. It's the longest running TV show in mixed martial arts there is, where we had like 320 shows now. You know, we just passed our 6th year of 300 shows. So we're doing good.
That's awesome. Now, how about when you did the movie with Kevin James and Henry Winkler? Here Comes the Boom. That seemed like that had to be a lot of fun.
You know, it was the very best. Kevin and I know Kevin for 16, 17 years, long time. Right from the moment I walked into in America, they found out that I was here, and he right away wanted to train with me. So we set that up, and we instantly became friends. And then, you know, we did a lot of work together, but, you know, suddenly he gets busy, I get busy, and, you know, we don't see each other anymore. Suddenly he gives me a script, and I did more things. I did things for Sony with him. I was in other movies with him. He always gave me these little parts in The King of Queens and these funny things. Right. And suddenly he gave me this script, and that blew me away. I was reading it, and suddenly I realized, oh, I'm coming back. And then I realized, oh, my God, this is one of the supporting actors, you know. And it was very cool.
It's like he made that movie for you.
It was unbelievable, right? He really did that, man. He's such a great guy. And then to meet, you know, Salma Hayek and Henry Winkler, it was just, it was a really good show. It was 10 weeks of having a lot of fun.
Yeah, what was it like to work with the Fonz?
You know, it's the coolest thing ever. We used to watch the Fonz in Holland on Happy Days every Sunday with the family, you know, and of course everybody in the world loves the Fonz, you know, so everybody in the world also loves Henry Winkler because he's kind of like the Fonz. Only, you know, the Fonz plays the tough guy, but I don't think you should really mess with Henry as well. He's the nicest guy you will ever meet. I mean, they always say not a bad bone. And that guy is unbelievable. And I really enjoyed working with him, the way he talks. Hey, boss, maybe we should do this. So maybe, you know, he would come up with these crazy things. And then he stole my, I have this anti-gravity chair that I always use. You know, I bring it, you can buy it, they're like $45, and it's great when you're on a shoot because you can lean in it, they lean all the way back, and then you have no pressure on your body. Well, I lost that chair, of course, to him because every time when I wanted to go to my chair, he was laying in it. I'm not going to kick the Fonz out of my chair. Yo, man, you got to get your own chair. You know, and Salma Hayek, she blew me away. She was such a nice lady, so funny. You know, she's a riot. She really is. She does the craziest things. She loved every time I had to teach her some fighting moves, and she was, all the other fighters were there. Nobody believed what she said. She said she never had she had one class, she said. I said, you're kidding me. And the way the instructions, the way she took them, it was insane. And she said, she was one of the top cheerleaders in the school. I said, okay, that's making sense now, because she was very athletic, very athletic.
So when you were, doing that movie, I guess did you really have to do some training with Kevin himself?
Me?
Yeah.
I've been training Kevin since the beginning. I met Kevin when he lived in a one-bedroom apartment in Overland. Together with his brother, he was sharing it. That was the first season of The King of Queens. I had no clue who he was. And once I met him, we instantly became friends because he had to laugh all the time about the crazy sounds I do. And, because people always think it's, I just do that. I've always been doing that since I was a little kid. If I hit something, I go, dang. So it's always been in me. And every time I do something, like little things, I shake something, I go, oh, my God. He dies laughing. He's so funny. And, we became instant friends there.
That's awesome. Now, here's something I always wondered. Now, again, somebody who has had such an incredible career in the world of MMA. A few years ago, there was the big blow-up where everybody and their mother was wearing the Affliction shirts, and then they all thought they were tough guys. Did that drive you nuts?
No, I don't really mind that. There's a lot of people like that. They just really enjoy the sport. They want everybody to do it. When I was young, I was doing that. I would MMA. I would have an MMA shirt. One time I got a present, like this whole package from a guy, and it said really big on the front, like huge MMA fighter. And I go, I can't wear that, man. That is something, you don't do anymore. I always told my friends they make so much noise and they want to be noticed. And I said, listen, the way to get noticed is just to train really freaking hard, forget about all the things you're doing now, and become a champion or become close to a champion. People will know you. That's the easiest thing. And then it's real. Right now, walking around with shirts, being in Subway, and then saying, what do you like to eat, sir? And then one of the guys would go, I drink a chicken fillet because I have a fight, mixed martial arts fight coming up. He would raise his voice, so everybody could hear him. I go, dude, man, don't do that. Not when I'm there. It's embarrassing. Playing at the pool in Vegas, he had to fight, and then he's asking me to hold the focus mitts for him. I said, okay, let's go to him. No, we can't do it here at the pool. I go, get out of here, mate. So he wants all the chicks to see him hitting the focus mitts. You know what I mean? So I always told him, I said, just become good, dude. You will, do all the bad things you do now, let them go. Focus on one thing and one thing only. People think it's easy. If it's easy, everybody could do it. Fighting in the gym and being really good in the gym doesn't absolutely mean that you're a great fighter. There's a lot of guys I know who work circles around the professional guys. But once you put them in the cage in front of their family members and their friends and the cameras are there, it's pressure. There's no room for mistakes now. Then they freeze and they can't fight. And that's what I always say. If you can't control your mind, it's another thing they say the biggest fear in the world is public speaking. If you look it up, they say public speaking. I say, well, now, try fighting. You make one mistake. And in mixed martial arts, it's like there's so many ways you can win, but that automatically means there's so many ways you can lose as well. So one little mistake can cost you right away.
Wow. All right, I have two questions, and then I'll let you go. I know you have a class to train. The first one is, did you ever contemplate going into the world of professional wrestling?
Actually, I almost hit a car here. I think I'm going to not back this up this time. Yes, I actually had almost a contract with the WWE at the time. And they really were interested in a thing that's called the Foreign Power. It was Marco Huas, Oleg Tatarov, and myself, guys from out of country, and we would go to WWE. But then the deal breaker was I missed a lot from my first daughter because of fighting. Okay. And then when I found out, oh man, I'm part so bad. When I found out that I thought they wanted me 20 shows or something, a year. They said, no, 220. And that was, for me, the deal breaker. I said, I can't do that. I'm going to, 220 shows, that is, your 300 days a year, you're gone. because
right.
you got the
travel.
You got travel. You got to, So no, and it was sad because it was a really good contract. It would have made me good money, but this time I said, I can't do that. And I remember I needed the money also. Yeah, me too. I was parking like totally wrong. So yeah, but I enjoyed it. I did pro wrestling in Japan actually, for Inoki, Antonio Inoki, for New Japan. I had the funniest fight ever. My first fight was against Nishijima, who was a huge guy, and we go over all the things, and he would throw me in a corner. He would give me 3 elbows. I will go down. I get an 8 count. You know how it goes. So he throws me in the corner. He hits the first elbow perfectly timed, and the second elbow is a full hit in my face. And my automatic defense shoots in, and I palm strike him in the head, and he goes down. He's out. So he lays on the ground, eyes open, people freaking out. Don't fly in my corner. Holds his hand. He goes, oh my God! And the referee, he didn't know what to do, so he started. First, he walked around him, and then he says 1, and then he did like 5, 6 steps. 2, very slowly, and at 8, he started waking up. And then we continued. But after that, of course, they would always come to my dressing room and say, listen, this is not real fighting. I said, it's very simple. You hit me hard, I hit you hard back. I mean, you never know if they do it on purpose or not. They say it can be an accident, but God knows. They say to the friends in the back room, oh, I'm going to hit him for real. Watch this.
Right.
So I have to stand up for myself. It's almost like going to prison, right?
yeah, because sometimes they think they're going to try to teach you a lesson.
I have to do it.
Yeah,
that was funny.
That's funny. Wow. All right, and the last thing before I let you go is I just want to know if you can just cut a quick ID before you roll.
Okay.
Just this is Bas Rutten. Did I say that right?
Yes.
And you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
It's to Totally Driven Radio, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okie dokie. You running?
Go for it. I'm ready.
Hey there. All right. Hey there, everybody. Bas Rutten here, a.k.a. the Pretty One, El Guapo. Yeah, that's me. You are listening to Total Driven Radio. Godspeed and party on.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was
You're
awesome.
very welcome.
Hey, we got to do this again because I want to talk some more MMA stuff with you.
All right.
For the next time, I want to ask you about your thought on the women in MMA.
Oh, I love it. Love women. Perfect.
Cool. We'll hook up another one. We'll do it again.
All right, my friend. Sounds good. Got to run? I got students waiting. Godspeed.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. There you go. The one, the only Bas Rutten. Yeah, that's one person's name you don't want to mispronounce.
No, I know. Like, I was thinking while he was talking, like, we've all known, like, a kid like him growing up. You know what I mean? Like, never wears a shirt. Like, never cries when he's bleeding or anything. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like a certifiable badass.
Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, when I was training for wrestling, there was a story. The person was, who was it? Manny Fernandez. Was it Manny Fernandez? It was either like Manny Fernandez or Bruiser Brody. I think it was Manny Fernandez was shot or something, and they refused. The story was they refused to bleed. Like, imagine that. Like, when I was told this story, it was just like, my mouth is on the floor. I'm just like, what? They're like, they refuse to bleed. just wrap your head around that one for a second.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow. All right. On that note, let's take a commercial break, and then when we come back on the flip side, hopefully we'll have guest number 2 ready to roll.
Awesome.